My bonus just hit. It's time for $10 lattes from that cafe all the influencers go to. Wait, do I also need a designer bag? Don't listen to her. She was falling into the all too easy trap of reactionary spending. When your bonus hits, you instantly look for ways to spend it because it's above and beyond your day-to-day income. Maybe it's a designer bag, maybe it's a first-class ticket to get out of this cold, or maybe it's an excessive amount of overpriced lattes. You liking that designer bag for the rest of your life is not guaranteed, but you retiring is hopefully more of a sure thing. So shouldn't you spend that bonus money on future you? My bonus goes to two places, and spoiler alert, it's not Gucci or Burberry, it's 401k and my Roth IRA. A little bit less alluring, but there's math to be had, so bear with me. Before I get into how I spend my bonus, a quick introduction. I'm Kimmy, I'm 30 years old, living in New York City, working in technology audit consulting, and welcome to On Our Way, a channel where we talk about navigating careers and life through the lens of being women. We aren't waiting until we've founded a company or become CEO to talk about our experiences. We're opening that up to those of us still on our way. Having control over your money is power. You could be making $1 million a year, but if you're not in control of where it's going, you'll never feel confident and comfortable in your finances. I am not a financial expert by any means. My drive to create this video isn't because I have some kind of secret finance sauce. It's to give the other non-finance girls confidence and tools to manage their money. I used to rely on my dad for finance advice, and then I met my now fiance when I was just a little 24-year-old. My fiance works in finance, and he's very passionate and knowledgeable about personal finance. Over the past half decade that we've been together, he's happily lent his personal finance advice and encouraged me to research myself and think critically about where my money is going and how it's being invested. He's a very driven and smart person, but so am I. As I learned more and more, I realized that this personal finance stuff, it isn't rocket science. I didn't need to rely on my parents, and I don't need to rely on my partner to figure this stuff out and get my money working for me. I'm making this video to share with the girlies what I've learned and what's worked for me, so no one has to rely on their parents or partners or anyone, frankly, to manage their finances. I promise you, it's not as complicated as you may think. If I can grasp it as a non-finance girl myself, you got this. I'm coming to this discussion from a perspective where my bonus is anywhere between 10% and 30% of my base salary. My goal isn't to see much of my bonus today. It's to let the art of compounding make me very grateful when I'm 65. Starting with a 401k, as a reminder, a 401k is a pre-tax retirement account, meaning you put money in before it is taxed, and it's not taxed until you take it out for your retirement. When I mention a 401k in this context, I'm talking about a traditional 401k. Most employers, again, I'm coming from a corporate background, will match some, if not all, of your contributions up to a certain amount. Therefore, you basically get free money from your employer to save for retirement. You have money in a 401k, you have to invest it. I invest my 401k in a target date fund, which is designed to mature by a certain year. For instance, if you plan to retire around 2060, like myself, I'll be working for a while, there's a certain fund that corresponds. It starts off with riskier investments and then gets less risky as the maturing date gets closer. I elect to auto route a certain percentage of my bonus to my 401k annually. If you've watched my other personal finance videos, you know that I love auto routing because it takes that decision making out of it. Because let's be honest, there are some times that we can't be trusted. You can auto route a percentage of your bonus to your 401k by going to the contribution section of your bank's page. This should be the same place that you would change how much you contribute each paycheck. There should be a section then that breaks out how much of your bonus you want to contribute pre-tax. Oh, hey there. If you're enjoying the video so far, please like and subscribe for similar content. All right, back to it. Historically, I've contributed about 40% of my bonus to my 401k. For demonstration purposes, let's say your bonus is $10,000 and that's the pre-tax amount. If you contribute 40%, that's $4,000 into your 401k pre-tax. If you do that every year for 35 years, you will have $445,739, assuming a rate of return of about 6% thanks to compounding interest. Compounding interest means you earn money on your principal, so whatever that initial amount was that you put in, and the interest or gains along the way. You'll pay taxes once you go to take that money out since you contributed pre-tax. Without compounding interest and without investing pre-tax in a 401k, if you just squirrel away 40% of your $10,000 bonus each year, you'd only be saving $2,800 a year. For 35 years, that gets you to just shy of $100,000. Do the math. Pre-tax 401k contributions not only makes you save, you can't reach under the bed and grab $100 for a mani-pedi, but it actually pays you. You do have to check if you'll exceed the contribution limit for your 401k for the year. For 2025, it's $23,500, and for 2024, it's $23,000. Within your bank's portal, you can see the total that you've contributed for the year, as well as the total that your employer has contributed as well. The rest of my bonus is taxed and goes straight into my checking account. I don't let it hang out in there for too long because then I feel that pull to do some reactionary spending and get myself a little something that I don't need. I funnel the bonus money that hits my checking account, that post-tax money, into my Roth IRA. For background, a Roth IRA differs from a 401k in that my employer does not contribute. And you put money in after it has been taxed, but the gains and income grow tax-free. So when you take it out, you don't pay any capital gains tax. In other words, it's basically the inverse of a 401k. An IRA is an individual retirement account. A 401k is employer sponsored. Similar to a 401k, there are annual contribution limits. For 2024 and 2025, you can't contribute more than $7,000 a year. For timing of your contribution, you have until April 30th of the following year. So for instance, for 2024, you have until April 30th of 2025 to make your contribution. After you fund that Roth IRA, just like a 401k, you need to invest that money. And embarrassingly enough, that's something that I did not know when I was, 22 years old, right out of college. I thought just opening a Roth IRA was the biggest hurdle. And then once I started telling people that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so silly for not knowing that. I realized that it's more of a thing that people don't think through that we should. In my Roth IRA, I have about half invested in a target date fund and the other half in ETFs or exchange traded funds, which are basically baskets of stocks. You can buy shares of an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. That's the market index that tracks the largest 500 companies. So rather than buy a share of a particular company, you can buy a share that's made up of a lot of different companies, and that makes it typically less risky and less volatile than stocks of a singular company. One ETF that's been performing particularly well for me is VOO, V-O-O. Investing in ETFs also takes less work from a research standpoint, so you non-finance girls, I got you. Your employer will only offer a 401k. However, it's super easy to open up another retirement account like a Roth IRA. You can just do it through your main bank. So Fidelity, Vanguard, Merrill Lynch, the list goes on. And note for a Roth IRA, there are some income limits. If you make over $150,000 in 2025, you can't invest in the traditional way. Instead, you can invest via the back door. Now, before you come for me, it's completely legal. I thought you only had until you made over that income limit to invest. But then the finance bros were like, nah, just you gotta backdoor it. Obviously, I thought this was some Greenwich, Connecticut, I'm above the law voodoo, but it's not. And we all should do it if we're lucky enough to make over that income limit. How it works is you contribute your after-tax dollars to a traditional IRA, and within 60 days, you roll over the funds to your Roth IRA. You should keep a couple of dollars in your traditional IRA, so otherwise the bank doesn't close the account, but otherwise that's literally it. To take our $10,000 a year bonus example, you've invested $4,000 pre-tax to your 401k. Your remaining pre-tax is $6,000. Say that's taxed around 30%. $4,200 hits your checking. Quickly move that to your Roth before you go around thinking you're all rich. If you do this every year, assume 6% rate of return, you'll have about 468,035 years that will not be taxed since your investment was taxed going in. And unlike an individual brokerage account, the gains are not taxed. To land this plane, if you invest your $10,000 a year bonus into the two retirement accounts we discussed, your traditional 401k and your Roth IRA, annually for 35 years, rather than spending it, you'll have roughly $1 million extra that you wouldn't have had sitting pretty just waiting for you thanks to lovely compounding interest. As opposed if you just stash that money away under your bed or in a traditional savings account, you'd have $245,000. And if you went on a shopping spree, you'd have a lot of purses, which, let's be real, in a New York City apartment, no one has room for. For my bonus in technology audit consulting, this approach works swimmingly. I don't know how much your bonus is. If you're a high earner and you're rolling in here with a $200,000 a year bonus, for one, let's just take a minute. You could do the above, max out your contribution limits across your traditional 401k and your Roth IRA, and increase your retirement savings even further via, for instance, a Roth in-plan conversion. Drop a comment below if you want to learn more and have a video exclusively on the different types of retirement accounts. Thank you so much for making it to this part of the video. Please like and subscribe, as well as leave comments down below on how you spend your bonus and if there's any other helpful topics that would help for us to unpack as we all continue on our way.